everyone, welcome back to the KCTV5 Plus streaming desk. I'm Katie Byrd. I hope you all are enjoying this rather gloomy Friday. If you think about it, we still have quite a bit to look forward to. It's Red Friday. Thanksgiving is approaching, which also means Black Friday shopping is just around the corner. Maybe for our shoppers that are watching today, we have a lot to break down tonight on the KCTV5 Plus streaming desk. Before I get into our national and local news of the day, I want to bring you guys an inspiring story. Take a look at your screen. This is 5-month-old Rowan Larson. She was born with a rare genetic disorder called spinal muscular atrophy. Her and her older brother both have it. I sat down today with her family and her doctor for a inspiring story of perseverance and how she is now thriving at 5 months old. Take a listen in now. Again, you guys, thank you so much for sitting down on the KCTV5 Plus streaming desk. I'm really looking forward to sharing your story. Could I start just by having you guys walk me through a bit of your journey?
Yeah, our journey all started with our son, Silas, over here. I was 8 weeks pregnant with him when we decided to do genetic testing just to find out if there was anything we should be aware of. And it came back as I was a carrier for SMA. Had no idea what that was, and they told me it was no big deal. They just needed to test Stephen to find out if he also was a carrier. And then that would become more of a conversation if he was. Further down the road, it came back that he was a carrier. So that meant that they explained to us it was going to be a 1 in 4 chance that Silas would end up having SMA. So then we had a call from a genetic counselor after that who walked us through what SMA was. And we were given some outdated information and not really told that there were treatments, and we're told that he was only going to maybe live till 2, and we could do an amniocentesis just to find out if he had it, just to know before he was born. So we opted not to do that with him because we didn't feel like it was worth any sort of risk just to know beforehand. And then after Silas was born, 5 days later on the newborn screen, it came back that he did in fact have SMA. And then that's when the ball got rolling for all the treatments for him. And so that kind of crushed us because we were really planning to have a family of 2 kids. So that way he didn't grow up on his own. And fast forward, we went to a Cure SMA conference in Austin, Texas last summer. And there we found out from a few doctors and other women that it's becoming more common to advocate and try and do an amnio if you do know you're a carrier, to find out if the child does have SMA before they're born, because then you can work and coordinate with your doctors, hopefully if they're on board, and evaluate the risks of delivering early to then get sooner treatment. So that's what we ended up doing with Roman. We were pregnant with her and then did the amnio and found out that she had SMA. So all our plans were having to fall into place as far as what we were going to do if she also had SMA.
Wow. Such an incredible story. Thank you guys so much for walking me through that. I'm curious, Arya and Steven both, what have been the most challenging parts throughout these few years?
Really the most challenging has been nutrition with our son. He struggles to eat enough solids, so a lot of it is intake through a toddler formula. He doesn't have a feeding tube, but he does do a lot of bottle formula just to supplement him and keep him growing enough. And then just a lot of outside physical therapy too.
Silas spends time in the stander every day, which Arya helps him get into the stander. He's in that for 45 minutes. He does stands on like a vibrating plate so that his muscles get exercised. So it's just a lot of required exercise so that you can keep his development on track. But it's a lot of extra work. Most kids would be able to just run around and do their own exercise, but we have to be intentional with the time each night and make sure they get their exercise in that he does.
Yeah. And so I'm also curious, for your daughter, Rowan, how vital was this early intervention at St. Luke's?
It was extremely vital to try and get her treated sooner because they're both type 1. And so that's the weaker side of having SMA. And so we can already tell a huge difference with her having a 6 weeks difference when she got treatment compared to my son. She, as you could see, she is very squirmy. She has a lot more muscle tone than he did at that age, and just quite different. She's already been rolling from her back to her tummy. She can bear weight on her legs when you put her down versus my son. His legs would collapse if you kind of put him on the table just to practice with weight bearing or anything like that. Diaper changers are a lot crazier with her too, given that.
Yeah. I'm curious. I know you mentioned how before your children, you were unaware of SMA. And so I'm curious for people right here in Kansas City, maybe they haven't heard of spinal muscular atrophy. So, what should everyone know about it?
Spinal muscular atrophy, we've learned, is a lack of the SMN1 gene that me and my husband both did not pass on to our children. We're both carriers, meaning we only had one of those apiece. And when you're missing that, it does not create enough protein to keep those muscle neurons alive. So it can start in your utero, like it did with my children. For less severe types, they start the atrophy process later on in life.
Yeah, thanks so much for walking me through that. And I'm sure every milestone now that everyone is home is just so rewarding. I'm curious, what are you most looking forward to with your kids?
Most looking forward to is just watching their friendship grow and see how having SMA will give them a greater bond, and watch them stick up for each other in different situations and advocate for other children like themselves.
That's great. I'm also curious for families here in the metro, maybe they are going through a similar uncertain situation. What's your message for them?
I would say just if you're in a situation where you have a genetic diagnosis, just talk to your doctors, do your research. I would say even reach through social media pages, because that's where I have found a ton of help through other moms, honestly.
That's great. Community is so important, and I'm so glad that your family truly is thriving and that you guys are all home now. Thank you guys again so much for sitting down with me today. I also sat down with Dr. Patel. He is at Pediatrics Neonatology of Missouri and St. Luke's Hospital of Kansas City. He spoke on the importance of early intervention, especially with families like the Larsons. Take a listen in. Dr. Patel, my first question for you is, how rewarding has it been to see your patient now thriving, in part mostly due to your medical care?
I think it's definitely rewarding. I think hearing the story from Arya about the Rowan, how well she's doing, that definitely helps us, as well as for the future families that probably gonna go through this similar disease. Then we can help them out as well.
You and your team at St. Luke's truly did incredible work. I'm really curious. I know that formulating a plan before Rowan was even born was really vital in her scenario. So, how did this impact her outcome?
So I think I would have to give a credit to a lot of people, but Dr. Moore, like the OB doctor, kind of reached out to us 28 weeks when they had a confirmatory diagnosis of spinal muscular atrophy. And then myself and my nurse manager, Daniel, kind of reached out to multiple bigger hospital where they have a SMA clinic as well as the experts that kind of helps through this to plan this delivery at 35 weeks and kind of start the treatment within 48 hours after delivery, also getting tested within 48 hours after delivery so we can optimize the outcome. As you kind of heard from Arya, that the early treatment and early intervention definitely makes a huge difference in the babies who are with the spinal muscular atrophy. So that was all really planned out with the planned delivery at 35 weeks during the weekdays to avoid any kind of delay in the shipments of the medications uh, and testing of the disease as well. So it kind of it kind of worked out well.
Yeah, and kind of going along with that, I know that you guys found out that both of Rowan's parents are carriers of the SMN1 gene. How vital was knowing that in formulating that treatment?
It is always important to know because if you don't know the parents are carrier, there's like as I think I already kind of mentioned that, but if you don't know, then there is no any prenatal testing is no prenatal testing is offered or done even. If there's only one parent is carrier, chances of passing that to the baby as a disease is zero. It's only that they can pass the carrier gene to the babies. So it's very vital that if one person is positive for the carrier, then the other person needs to be tested so we can know whether they are expecting the baby with the SMA or not.
Again, Dr. Patel, you're doing incredible work at St. Luke's. I'm curious for families who are going through similar situations to the Larson families, what would you like them to know?
I think it's very important to know that there is a lot of medical advances happening right now with the SMA itself. We have disease modifying medication versus disease curative agent as well, which is the gene therapy that can replace the actual SMN protein like production. So, and it's fairly new. So we still don't have like a really long-term data, but whatever the data we have kind of seen quite a bit improvement compared to the no treatment. So there's a lot more help compared to 10 years or 10, 15 years ago that we had for this disease.
Yeah, that's such a great message, and I know that this story is especially timely this month. November is Prematurity Awareness Month, so I'm curious for the resilient, strong families with children that were born premature, what would you like them to know?
The prematurity, baby born being premature is not uncommon in the United States. 1 in 10 baby kind of borns premature. Uh, uh, but this premature babies are, as you mentioned, that they are resilient. And the families definitely need a lot of support kind of going through the NICU. It's not an easy stay when your baby's in the NICU and you are kind of away from the baby, so they do need a lot of support. So I would really urge the community to kind of educate yourself about the prematurity, the challenges that family and the babies kind of go through, and kind of help them any way you can, like providing a meal, providing a transportation, anything that you can do that helps with the helps the family or the children.
Dr. Patel, thanks so much for sitting down with me today on the KCTV5 Plus streaming desk. It was so great to chat with you. Again, you guys, thank you so much for sitting. And you can find more on this story on the KCTV5 website. Right after this short break, we'll be bringing you the top local headlines of the night, including some updates on an iconic barbecue joint right here in Kansas City that has suddenly closed. We'll be back soon. Welcome back, everyone. An iconic Kansas City barbecue joint has suddenly closed. Arthur Bryant's needs to repair a water pipe, and the busted pipe is causing real concern as we creep closer to a big week for business. Staff are racing to get it back open. Now, KCTV5 reporter Grace Smith talked with Taylor Tobin. He's the general manager, to try and get these answers, to give you guys a little more of a timeline on when everything has happened. Back on Tuesday, they posted this to Facebook, letting their customers know that they'd be closed for a few days as they fix the dining room ceiling and work on other repairs because of that water line break. But of course, it couldn't really be worse timing. Many people right here in the metro come to get your turkeys for Thanksgiving or dine in with family and friends. Tobin tells KCTV he's hoping and praying that they will be open in time for the holiday, but he says he can't make any promises right now. Take a listen in.
We were going to do 6 pounds of turkey breast, 2 legs, 2 wings, a quart of gravy, and a couple of our sides. As of right now, I would love to get to a point where we could still do that, but as of right now, I just can't give any answer on exactly when we will be reopening.
And if you've driven by the new American Royal campus in Kansas City, Kansas, you may have noticed construction has been paused for months. Taking it now to KCTV5 investigates, Samantha Boring, as she works to find us answers. Take a listen.
I'd like to see it before I die.
Diane Bales has lived in Kansas City, Kansas all her life. She says it's exciting to see American Royal taking shape in her hometown.
We have agriculture all around us, so it's like, why not?
But when construction suddenly went quiet, the questions surrounding it grew louder.
It's like, why? You know, we've got these 5 big buildings that they've put in.
A pause of construction since spring, but KCTV5 Investigates found it's not a pause of the project as a whole.
We know we've been a little quiet lately, but we're coming.
Crews broke ground on the private-public project in 2023. American Royal CEO and President Jackie McClaskey says as a nonprofit, they've already put more than $100 million in private funds into this site.
And we needed to catch the public funding up.
She says they're working with the unified government of Wyandotte County and KCK to figure out the sales tax and revenue, or STAR bonds. Out of the $375 million project, they're looking at $155 million from STAR bonds. But why are these delayed?
What I would really credit the challenges over the last 6 months or so is just the detail of the STAR bond development agreement and working with new officials and just helping them understand the story and get the details right.
Now they're working to get an amended development agreement approved so they can start selling the STAR bonds.
This piece is really critical to us, and not just the public side, but also elevating the next step in our private fundraising.
In a statement to KCTV5, the unified government sharing the developer has requested a modification to the bond financing structure, adding the developer has a commitment to start construction within 60 days of the bonds being issued. American Royal says they are confident the project will move forward.
I love agricultural stuff.
It's welcome news for people like Bales, anxious for construction to start up once again.
Both of them work together and let's get it done.
And Missouri's Attorney General Catherine Hanaway, she's launched an investigation targeting 6 companies statewide over synthetic 7-OH products. Taking it now to KCTV5, Morgan Rydell, she brings us everything we need to know.
While trace amounts of 7-OH occur naturally in kratom, it's being synthetically enhanced, making the opioid-like effects even stronger. According to experts, it's 13 times more powerful than morphine, and it's found in grocery stores and gas stations. But how did we even get here?
It's one molecule ahead of the law enforcement, and that's all it is.
Daniel Neal is the executive director of the Midwest High-Intensity Drug Traffic Area and has spent a lot of time combating loopholes just like 7-OH.
With synthetic drugs like this, it's difficult for law enforcement and policymakers to be able to try to get ahead of just changing one little molecule to get around the law and get around enforcement of that.
He says it's a serious danger, disguised in fun packages.
The potency of this is so strong, and the addictability to it is so high.
That concern is the reason why Missouri's Attorney General has launched a statewide investigation into kratom manufacturers and distributors, saying, quote, when businesses peddle unregulated addictive substances and hide the risks, they violate the trust of Missouri consumers. According to the Missouri Department of Health, 7-OH can lead to seizures, depression, rapid heart rate, and high blood pressure, and they say it can even cause death. Missouri Poison Control says just this year, calls related to kratom and 7-OH have doubled compared to the last 2.
There's no age restrictions. There's no restrictions at all. It's very worrisome as not only as a community member, but as a parent.
And the Kansas City Royals stepped up to the plate today. They helped families put food on the table for this upcoming Thanksgiving through their Books and Birds program. They hosted a drive-thru giveaway at the Urban Youth Academy earlier today, and families were able to pick up everything from turkeys to even children's books, all for free.
We know that there's probably going to be a greater need this year, so being able to provide turkeys and non-perishables and Royals giveaways, we're just excited to be able to do that and take burdens off of families.
The first come, first served event started at 3 this afternoon and wrapped up this evening at 6. And over at Union Station, the holiday spirit is in full swing. Look at this whimsical display. Holiday Reflections, you guys, it's officially open for the season. Here is a look inside. Thousands of sparkling lights give the Grand Hall a magical glow. Not only that, there's also a walk through Village and numerous photo ops. Now, Union Station's president says over 185,000 people visited this event last year, you guys, and clearly I have to say it was spectacular, and he expects that number to be even higher this season. Let's take a look.
If you can create memories for a lifetime, that's what Union Station was created and saved for almost 25 years ago. So we hope we have something for everyone, for the grandparents all the way up to the kids.
Tickets range between $8 and $12, and the event will run all the way through January 4th. Plenty of time to get in that holiday spirit, you guys. I can't wait to show out again this year. And this morning, girls right here in Kansas City experienced empowerment and inspiration at an engineering event. KCTV5 reporter Gabby Luma brought us more from the 15th annual Introduce a Girl to Engineering Day. How cool. Let's take it over to her now.
We're here at Introducing a Girl to Engineering Day, and there are dozens of gals from middle schools across the Kansas City area building a car and learning more about engineering, just like Jillian, Maddie, and Jocelyn.
Which one would be like lighter or better material for it? Because like
girls can do anything, including engineering, and that's the message event organizers say they hope the girls take away from today, where they're learning about the job and its pathways.
They have multiple hands-on activities related to engineering concepts, and they also have a lot of what is engineering, just to learn about it. A lot of these girls have never had exposure to engineering and what that even looks like.
The morning included a keynote address, picking up materials to build a car.
The cardboard? Do you want the big one?
And putting them all together, putting their critical thinking skills to work. But for the girls, they say the morning was much more than just learning about engineering.
I feel so empowered because they're like good mentors. I want to be like them when I grow up because they're so confident and they have fun a lot. So I want to be like them.
I think everyone's here just for different reasons, and it's just for teaching girls for engineering, since there needs to be more girls in engineering.
And though not all of these girls may go into engineering or STEM for a career, they still have a bit to choose. At least it gives them an opportunity to learn about something that they may never have learned before. Reporting from UMKC campus, Gabby Luma, KCTV5 News.
And our goal is just to show people. And our goal is just to show people, just to make people more interested into what we're doing. And this gives us an opportunity to demonstrate to everyone as we have our field set up and our robot showcasing it all. So it's really just more outreach.
And obviously it's no KCTV5 Plus streaming update without a little Chiefs thrown in here. Obviously the Chiefs making the playoffs are on the line as we head 5-5 into Sunday's matchup against the Colts. Now, we recently heard from Travis Kelce himself on how the team has to pick themselves up. Take a listen.
Every single season is different in that, our obstacles are going to be different. And sometimes it's a matter of week in, week out, being able to recharge, refocus, even after a big time loss or a piled up a couple of losses and things like that. You got to find ways to fight through that. You got to make sure that you're coming into the building with the right mindset. And if losses do pile up on you, man, you got to have a sense of urgency.
And that's not the only thing on Chiefs fans' minds right now. Of course, everyone's dying to know, will this be Kelce's last season? Right now, the 36-year-old is in the final year of a 2-year, $34 million deal. Last week against the Broncos, the 13-year vet scored his 84th regular season touchdown for the Chiefs. This broke a tie with the one and only Priest Holmes for the most in franchise history. He also owns 10 NFL records and has been named a 7-time All-Pro. Now, still, every career has to come to an end, and not many players play into their late 30s. Props to you, Travis. Today, he said he'd like to make a decision before next April, so the team is ready for the new league year. And I mean, not only that, you guys, come on, he's getting married to the biggest pop star in the world. So I wonder if that will have anything to do with his decision nobody has a crystal ball, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Going to take it over now to this beautiful look from the National World War I Museum and Memorial. You guys, look at this. It's all lit up at Crown Center. We'll be back for your national news headlines really quick. Welcome back, everyone. Now, I have to say, if you were just looking at this live city cam out over Crown Center, they're getting pretty high tech over there. I'm taking it back just one more time. I mean, come on, look at this light show. I can't wait to see it in person for myself. Ugh, absolutely breathtaking. Next, I'm going to be taking you through all of our top national headlines from the day. First off here, nursing has been excluded as a professional degree by the Trump admin as the Department of Education preps to make some massive cuts to providing student loans. The details are laid out in President Trump's One Beautiful Bill, and under the bill, only professional degree students will be eligible for the higher loan limit of $200K, while grad students are capped at $100,000. This is according to Newsweek, and in the bill, the department classifies the following degree programs as quote-unquote professional. I'm going to go ahead and walk you through those now. They include medicine, pharmacy, dentistry, optometry, law, veterinary medicine, podiatry, chiropractic, theology, and clinical psychology. Now, we also have heard from the American Nurses Association. They warn that limiting nurses' access to funding unquote, threatens the very foundation of patient care, and it's because more students may choose not to pursue nursing if they can't get the student loans that they need, thus leading to a drop in the number of nurses in the country. The association's also urging the Department of Education to recognize nursing as an essential profession. And in some more national headlines for your Friday, a federal judge has blocked the IRS from sharing certain info to help U.S. immigration and customs enforcement with deportations. In a court ruling earlier today, the IRS was blocked from giving ICE the home addresses of taxpayers who might be undocumented immigrants. Now, the judge said a data sharing program deal was unlawful for several reasons. Here's why. She said it violated legal requirements to keep sensitive taxpayer information private, regardless of their immigration status. The judge also rejected many Justice Department arguments as to why it believes the program is legal, and there's no word yet if the Trump admin plans to appeal the decision. And in a related case, a different federal judge had declined to block the data sharing agreement between the IRS and ICE. And so far, the IRS has provided ICE with info on about 47,000 undocumented taxpayers. Next up, the U.S. Coast Guard once again considers swastikas and nooses to be hate symbols. This is according to a memo released just yesterday. The move comes shortly after the Washington Post reported that the Coast Guard approved a policy that reclassified those images as potentially divisive. The change was set to go in effect in December, but that plan quickly drew scrutiny from some lawmakers, including Democratic Representative Lauren Underwood from Illinois. She expressed her concerns to the Coast Guard's acting commandant. She also released a video afterwards saying she was told hate symbols, including swastikas and nooses, would be prohibited. And next up, one public company has reached a major milestone. Eli Lilly has become the first publicly traded healthcare company to reach $1 trillion in value. I don't know about you guys, but that number is very hard for me to wrap my mind around. Not a billion, you guys, $1 trillion. The exclusive club has been dominated by tech giants such as Microsoft, and Eli Lilly's stock has surged in part to its hold on the weight loss drug market. And this company, you guys, may shock you this stat too. It's 150 years old. It's the maker of Zepbound and Mounjaro. Next up, you guys, the countdown to Turkey Day is on. That's right, there's only 6 more sleeps until my personal favorite holiday. Next up, I'm going to bring you some Thanksgiving travel advice that comes straight from the FAA. They're expecting this year's Thanksgiving travel period to be the busiest in 15 years. More than 52,000 flights are predicted for Tuesday ahead of the holiday. And along with this, the TSA expects the Sunday after Thanksgiving to be one of its busiest travel days ever. Overall, they're projecting to screen nearly 18 million people between Tuesday and next week to Tuesday, December 2nd. Meanwhile, AAA predicts that more than 81 million people will travel at least 50 miles from home during this period from November 25th to December 1st. Pretty crazy. That's up 1.6 million more people than last year. So if you are taking on the airports bravely this holiday season, whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, make sure to give yourself plenty of time, and also make sure you have all of your identification ready so it can be a smooth transition. Obviously, it's common sense, but never bad to have a little reminder ahead of the holidays. A little more holiday travel news for you guys. This is pretty interesting. If you don't have a real ID, you could be facing a fee under a newly proposed rule. Yesterday, the TSA proposed an $18 fee for travelers who don't have the real ID. Now, you might be wondering, how exactly will this work? How am I going to get fined, if I don't have the real ID? Well, the rule calls for travelers who don't have it to be able to pay that fee and use a new biometric kiosk that would allow flyers to access TSA checkpoints for 10 days. And they also say the fee will cover costs associated with the new passenger ID verification technology. Super high tech, you guys. Now, real ID, of course, has been required for USA travel since May 7 of this year. And passports, of course, also work as ID in place of that real ID. But just so you all know, there is no word, however, on when this proposed rule could possibly take effect. And you can find more on this and every national news story on the KCTV5 website. When I come back from this break, we'll be breaking down all of the entertainment headlines of the day. Again, taking it over to this live look at Crown Center. You guys, I really can't get enough of it. It is gorgeous. Be back soon. Welcome back. Taking it over to a headline from Alabama. In Alabama, they will put books that include information on transgender procedures, gender ideology, and the concept of more than two genders from the kids and teens sections of libraries. The Alabama Public Library Service Board approved this rule change yesterday. This is going to apply to more than 200 libraries in the state, and the books in question will have to be removed from the library or moved to the adult section. The chair of the Library Service Board, John Wall, is also chairman of the Alabama Republican Party. He said the change is meant to put parents in control of what their kids are reading. Now, some of the board members who voted for it said it's needed to protect kids. Those who voted against it said the board is overreaching in deciding what materials are appropriate. The earliest the change would go into effect is this spring. And next up, taking it over to some entertainment news for you all. Country icon Dolly Parton is apologizing to her fans for missing another event with them. The 79-year-old was inducted into the Hall of Fame for the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions earlier this week, but Parton couldn't attend the ceremony. Instead, she accepted her award virtually. It honors her theme park, Dollywood, in Tennessee. In an apology Instagram video, she reminded fans about her health issues and apologized. Now let's go ahead and take it over to Miss Dolly Parton now.
I leave it. I come in here and it just whirls me around just thinking of all the fun things that I've got to do in my life, so thanks. We got room for.
Well, hey there, it's Dolly, and I sure wish I could be with you in person today. But you probably heard that I've been dealing with a few health challenges this fall, and my doctors told me to take it easy for just a little while. And I'm truly sorry I can't be there.
A few times, that means you might win bigger down the road.
Dollywood celebrated its 40th anniversary earlier this year, and Parton said she is only the second woman ever inducted into the organization's Hall of Fame. Now, earlier in September, the singer postponed a series of December concerts in Vegas due again to health challenges. Man, I hope she feels better soon. She's truly an icon. And next up, a new survey is shedding light on which social media platforms Americans are spending their time on. Pew Research Center surveyed more than 5,000 adults, and 84% said they use YouTube. Facebook came in second, with 71% reporting they use the platform, and half said they use Instagram. The survey also showed adults under the age of 30 are more likely to use Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and Reddit. Now, when it comes to gender, women are more likely to use Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and men, on the other hand, are more likely to use Reddit and X, formerly known, of course, as Twitter. Now, I do have a couple of thoughts on this. First of all, I feel like Reddit is really making a comeback, especially in the younger generations. It was kind of on a lull for a few years, but I feel like especially ever since COVID happened, people are really wanting to get back into that community, and that's why it's becoming popular again. And while Facebook may not be the most popular Gen Z app, it happens to be my personal favorite just because I think it connects every age group so well and in such just a normal way. And I really think Facebook is the trailblazer for all of the other social media apps. That's my hot take of the day. Next up, you guys, take a look at this. A timeless piece of history from the Titanic disaster is available for the right price. This gold pocket watch worn by Macy's co-owner Isidore Straus when the legendary ship sank is being auctioned off this weekend. Now, him and his wife Ida were among the highest profile people who died in the disaster, and while his body and the watch were later recovered, his wife's remains never were. Now, this watch was given to their son and then passed down through several generations before now being put up for sale. Now, the British auction house Henry Aldridge and Son calls the timepiece, quote, one of the most important and iconic Titanic items ever. It's expected to get an asking price of more than $1 million, and the couple was depicted in the 1997 James Cameron film Titanic as holding on to each other in a bed as the ship went down. But survivors said Isidore and Ida were actually holding hands and standing on a deck when a wave swept them overboard. Wow, truly such a fascinating part of our history. So tragic as well. And for all of our astronomy lovers, something of note will happen this weekend as an interplanetary optical illusion. The rings of Saturn will be nearly invisible. Now, the sleight of hand will happen as Saturn aligns with Earth, so its rings will actually be facing the Earth's edge. It's called a ring plane crossing. This one will be a near crossing, not a total one, so if you look at Saturn with a telescope, the rings will appear to narrow to less than 1% visibility, and they're gradually going to widen out during the coming months and then reach their greatest apparent width in late 2027. Wow, a couple years from now. Now, ring plane crossings are relatively rare, usually happening once every 13 to 16 years, but this actually also happened back in March, And however, the next total ring disappearance won't happen again until 2038. You know, I think this kind of stuff is just so fascinating, and I do want to take a deep dive into it and learn a little bit more about it. You guys, that's about all I have for your KCTV5 Plus headlines this evening. Just a little bit over an hour until your KCTV5 news at 10. If you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, we're going to go ahead and take it over to the app where we will be playing Sharon Chen's latest episode of Destination Heartland. So make sure to tune in there and have a great and safe evening, everyone.